there in the building, or at least I assume you still were for this.
Maybe not.
And that's when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO. What do you remember about this?
I was there. I was pissed off.
First of all, let me ask you this. Did you know that Hogan was going to be the third man?
We had heard something about it, but we didn't know. Nobody actually knew 100%. We had heard inklings. The thing was, I was pissed off because they didn't have us on the show. That's why I was pissed off.
Okay.
And they had other people on the fucking show.
Well, then they checked, because I mean, you guys went on second, correct? You guys wrestled the Steiners. Is that right or no?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember wrestling that night at all.
Okay.
Were we on that one?
Yes, I think so. I'm looking at 1996 right here, and it has you guys on second against the Steiners.
96. I was in school.
Unless what I have in front of me is wrong.
I don't remember that. The night that he turned.
Yeah.
The night that he turned, I don't think we worked on that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Based on what I have in front of me, I can see how you possibly. Oh, here we go. Indicates the match was broadcast prior to the pay-per-view on main event. So you guys wrestled on the show, but not on the pay-per-view.
Exactly.
On the free
That's
show.
what it was.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. And I was really ticked off. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, I think we earned the right to be on this fucking show because, you know, we had been the champions.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, what kind of dickhead chicken shit is this? But, you know,
They were putting the champions on the free show.
I wanted to be on the main show. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what the situation was. And I'm like, and they didn't give us very much time either. It wasn't very much time. It wasn't but a few minutes, you know. And
5 minutes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it was just a few minutes of boom, 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 get out, blah, blah, and you're out, you know. And I was like, you know, really, you know, pay-per-views, that's where we like to really shine and have, you know, really significant matches. Things like that. That, well, I really, and then the thing was, everybody had to stay there for the rest of the fucking night.
You couldn't leave and go back to the hotel and, you know,
which
take
is
a
right
crowd
across
over.
the fucking street.
Right.
Everybody had to stay there. They didn't. I guess they didn't want somebody to go out and say, "Oh, Hogan's going to turn heel tonight." That guy gave a shit. You know, you know, yeah, we had to stay there for the rest of the fucking night on fucking 2-3 hour fucking pay-per-view and wait for all this shit to go down, man. I was like, whatever the fuck ever, man. But you know, it is what it is. But you know, if I'm working this early, I'm ready to go down Daytona. They got 50,000 bars. I'm ready to go fucking take a shower and go hit the fucking bars.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. I love Daytona. I love that. I love that fucking town. Love it. But it was what it was.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to sound bitter, but I just, like I said, remember, I had to be at the fucking building for the rest of the fucking day, you know?
Yeah.
And that I didn't like. But
So I'm going to go out here on a limb and assume that you don't recall the general feeling or sentiment in the building after the NWO formed and Hogan
man, I
did
didn't
his
give
deal.
two shits about what the fuck went on in that goddamn building that night. You know, I was ready to get the fuck up out of there, bro. I mean, it was what it was. You know, like I said, we had heard remnants of that. We knew something was going on because, like I said, they didn't want any of us to leave. Since when they don't want any of us to leave? If you worked already on a pay-per-view back in those days, you could leave.
Right.
You know, and hell, we wasn't even on the pay-per-view. We was like in a dark match. You know, so
yeah, you did.
And it was just so much.
You that champion on the Sunday main event. I know Stevie Ray was angry. Ooh, they do that. They do that a lot now. It's like I don't know about putting the champs on the on the mid show. Know about that? And you the champion. They've been in. Let me see, 93, 94, 95. He'd been in the company about 3 or 3.5 years by then. They should have they're treated a lot better than that. And they've been in the company close to 4 years already at the time.
Fucking bullshit going on. It really was strange. It was a strange fucking night, man. I'll never forget it. It just was a strange fucking night. I was just trying to hope. I was just glad that some bitch was over.
Right.
Now I remember that. Like, oh, holy fuck! I'm glad this shit is over now. Let's get the fuck out of here. That's what I remember. Let me get the fuck off this motherfucker tonight, bro. That's what I remember.
This is the most cliched, or one of the most cliched questions, I think, in the history of wrestling. but I'm going to ask it anyway because you were there, you were in the building, you were part of the show. Did the NWO hurt wrestling?
Damn ads.
Wrestling. I mean, everyone's talked about
Trying to hear
faces
something.
and heels going away during this era, and the whole cool factor of the NWO really killing that vibe. Do you think it was good or bad for professional wrestling?
I think it was good and bad at the same time.
Okay.
The reason I think it was good because nothing like that, no entity had ever been put together like that before. And, it was Hulk Hogan who had been the pinnacle of a babyface for so long, turning heel, which is a big, big part of his career, going in that direction. So I know he had to have trepidations about that. But be that as it may, it took off like wildfire. But the only thing, I think, looking back on it now, because as you well know, I was a part of the NWO, it got pushed too long. And then they started making other NWO red and black, NWO black. It started.
At one time, you were the leader of NWO Hollywood, I believe.
That's another thing that people tend to forget. That old Ray Dog himself was one of the prime leaders of the NWO.
See, I've done my research.
As well as all of my other accomplishments and accolades. You don't leave nothing out. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One time I was the leader, but by that time it was so watered down. It was like Fonzie leading Richie and all those guys from Al's. Al's Diner at that time. So wasn't like a little big feat or something of that nature. But going back to the original question,
Yeah, they did wear it
I
out.
honestly believe if it had been thought out the right way, they could have got better mileage out of it. It got to the point where that's the only thing on the show that people cared about. Who the NWO was going to come out and jump on that.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Ready to say that. Every week, the guy, somebody has to worry about getting their ass beat. Know about that? I'll never forget. I think this is when it first started. Throwing Mysterio head first into the side of the trailer. That was horrible. I felt bad. I can't remember if it was Nash, Hall or Nash, but yeah, threw him head first into the side of the wall, to the side of the trailer. That was, oh boy. Then you have a tag match with some tag teams out there, and if you ain't joining NWO, you about to get jumped on real bad. How about that? And I remember, I think it was Bagwell. He turned and dropped his partner right on the back of his head. I left him out there.
Got so big they didn't know how to keep up with it.
Left him out there.
It was like one of those monster movies where the guy makes a monster, then all of a sudden the monster keeps growing. And wait a minute, I built a monster to just attack this little town right now. Now it's bigger than the whole town,
Right.
and I don't know what to do.
It's like Friday the 13th was cool, but Part 9 is a little much.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened, and it just started filtering out, and hell, next thing you know, it was nothing like it was. Next thing you know, they got everybody's part of the NWO. This guy, that guy, blah, 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 to the point where it's like, wow. So we gotta kept it short and sweet. You had something.
Like he lost his chewing
It
gum.
was bigger than it was an accident. It was like a professor in the lab
It wore it out.
going back to the monster. It was an accident, Man, I made a monster, but man, I didn't know it was gonna grow like this.
Right.
And that's what happened. It was an accident. So they could really write for something that was taking over pro wrestling. It was taking over all of pro wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, they had their own branded pay-per-views,
Yeah.
for crying out loud,
And
which was just a little over the top.
yeah, but it was fun, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I make jokes about Hogan and all those guys, but man, I really enjoyed it, man. We had a good time.
Yeah.
We had a good time. I remember me and Brett went on the road. We was tag team partners. Guys, I don't even know. He didn't even know if he was in the NWO or not at the time.
He had no
He
business
was like
in there.
partially in and partially not in.
Yeah, it was Nate was talking about that on Nate's channel the other day. He had no business in there. He had half in, on about 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You was talking about the Jarrett, and you talking about that versus the current stuff. I should have said 98 to 2000 because 2000 was so with it, but if anything was better than the current. You'll take the new. I don't know about the new generation. You might take the new generation era, but back then that era was dentists and plumbers and washed up hockey players and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, that's Brett. Brett had no business in there.
And me and him
Come on now.
went all over
Didn't look right.
all over the country as a tag team. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really got to know Brett and talk to him a whole lot. So that was cool.
I want to remind everybody at home, TitleMatchWrestlingNetwork.com.
Well, this might be it.
Every Saturday night, brand new episodes of Stand Up for
This
Greatness
might be it.
with Stevie Ray. Subscribe now. You can get a 14-day.
Yeah, this is it. But he's doing his promo about the websites. But yeah, they wore it out because 97, 98, 99. Or 97, 98 wasn't that bad. But in 99, they should have left. I don't know, was it around in 99? I think it broke up and came back again. I remember, boy, getting angry. I forgot about this. So that's another one. Oh, boy. I think Goldberg went to go jump on NWO or fight him about something. And he thought he had some help with Lex Luger. Next thing you know, Luger's jumping on him. He raised it more hell when Luger turned. Oh boy! And then the finger poke thing, and Hogan falling across the floor, and oh boy, I remember all that. Just to bring them back together again. It was a setup. That's all it was. All it was a damn setup. And then back together again, breaking up again, and then the 2001 night. Oh boy, that could sit down. That could stay there.